Hello all, I hope you're doing well today. I saw a great clip from the US comedian Theo and the scientist Andrew Huberman. He's sort of a personal development type. And it's very interesting because they're speaking about their personal experiences of God in their lives. And why I thought it was so noteworthy is because they're not hammering the sort of esoteric stuff of you must believe that, the heavy religious stuff. You don't have to believe anything about talking snakes if you don't want to. They're talking simply about their lived experience with the presence of God. And Theo puts it beautifully in terms of it's like being an antenna and trying to chime into that right frequency. And I thought this is so well put, and it's exactly what I think is powerful for modern Western man. It's a way in through the heavy layers of exoteric religion that are very hard to work through. Now, I think Von has a particularly special view of this because if I understand rightly, he's from an addiction recovery background. And addiction is one of these things that the world will laugh at you for, judge you for. But it's actually very powerful on the spiritual path because it's a fast track in understanding deep spiritual truths, i.e., you are weak and fragile in your human state, but there is a being quality to you that you can recognize, or as Theo would say, an antenna that you can clean and sharpen, and it can chime in to higher level understanding that can guide you. And I think Von is very good at that because he's quite a humble guy, he's from the deep south and all the rest of it. He's quite a funny guy, but he explains it in a very simple way. Now let's just watch the clip and then I'll talk a bit more about why this is so important for this channel and the Substack community in the future.
I know people are going to, some people roll their eyes. Some people will be like, get it immediately. When you start praying before sleeping in the morning. Yeah, I prayed right before I came in here. I'm in the bathroom. I literally get on my knees and pray before anything important this morning, at night. And people go, how can you be a scientist and believe in God? And it's like, well, easy. Because as a scientist, you learn that even as let's just say a vision scientist, there are animals that can see parts of the visual spectrum that we can't see. UV light, infrared light, pit vipers can see it. Mosquitoes see things we don't see. So the moment you start just thinking, wait, our human brain can understand and make sense of certain things, but not others through logic and reasoning and emotion, you go, well, there's this not just possibility of an entire set of energies out there that we're not aware of. It's absolutely certain. And then you go, well, that's a big leap to the idea that there's a guy or, and his son is is Christ, and Christ was resurrected. But when you start reading the stories and you start looking at our real world experience, you go, so much of this makes sense, and it doesn't make nature and science any less interesting. It makes it more interesting. It makes it and more important. It's like we're here. I believe that we're here to access that energy, allow it come through us.
Yeah.
I don't think we podcast. I think energy comes through us and we podcast.
Oh, I think the funnest thing sometimes is getting an idea, because I'm like, this didn't come from me.
Right.
What the hell am I doing? I'm just something out here that's trying to position myself to be the best receptor. It's almost like when you're trying to put those dog ears out for a television or whatever, or an old black and white TV, and you're trying to pick up the signal. It's like, I'm just trying to best get myself in situation to receive a decent signal.
Now, the way Theo who's the guy in the baseball cap, by the way, if you don't know, ends there is in essence explaining the traditional path. He doesn't know it because I don't think he's that interested in it, but he's got a natural understanding of it, which is more important. And when he's describing, or as Huberman starts by describing the practice of having a prayer routine, that's the horizontal path, having a disciplined structure in your life. That's what religion is supposed to give us. The only thing is a lot of people have just got lost in that alone. Not all, I should always add, by the way, there are good people in religions. They're just few and far between in the Christian tradition, in my experience. However, what Von takes that to is, positioning himself correctly. That's wonderfully put, cleaning that antenna. That's the horizontal exoteric work that we do. What is it that's bothering us? Are there any sins that we've got lost in that still live with us that we need to make restitution for? Is there anything I'm angry with the world about? Was I wronged myself? Is there something I can't let go of? All that inner noise, what's going on? What is it? And then having the practice to work through that stuff, and then the rigorous regime, the exoteric path that religions are supposed to provide, ideally, to give us the structure to understand that. As I say, we're in a sort of degenerated age, so people have the practices, but it doesn't tend to go anywhere, which is why many people think, well, pray, what for? And we could say with Huberman's experience of prayer, we don't exactly know what he's doing to make it work for him, because you can say you're going to pray 3 times a day, but if you're just standing there with your eyes closed being, God, give me a bike, it's not really going to do much. You have to understand the depth of prayer, which comes over time and study and the rest of it. And again, I'll speak about this a lot on the Substack. But what Von really gets right is you can even see it in his hand mannerisms. He starts to point in vertical lines. Again, that's the deep traditional order working through him. It is something beyond him, going right through, because the vertical line is the experience of God now. And that's really what prayer is fundamentally. The Eastern form is meditation. The Western form is contemplative prayer. And the idea is, in that prayer, it's not so much, again, God, I would like a bike, God, fix the world. It's more a letting go to the wisdom of God, realizing the energy of God is all, and letting that flow through you and tell you, not the other way around, what should be. Or even just let go to the will of God. Let's put it that way. And I think this is so important because this is bringing back in the esoteric. And I've spoken a lot about this. There is a lot in traditionalist writings that states that the West has lost its way because it's lost touch with the esoteric, the spiritual light. And it's been replaced by, ideas, institutions, logic and all the rest of it. And that's all right on one level. But we've forgotten the spiritual life. We've turned to materialism. And you can see people like Theo Von are, however incorrectly, finding their way through their own path. And again, what's sad about it is we don't have the broader structure in the West for this really to take off and become meaningful. But as I talk about on the main channel, that will probably come with more collapse. Because what you find is Western man is still very prideful and proud. And when we think we're the best and we know everything, we're not going to be open to deeper understanding. We're just going to laugh at talking snakes and the rest of it. We're not going to understand symbology. We're not going to understand the higher message. But the reason I wanted to drill down on this and make a quick video on it was to say, this is exactly the way that I think Western man needs to re-understand these things. Come from the bottom up. I wouldn't worry about being too religiously formal. That will come in time. I think actually if you go with religious formalism, it actually hurts you more than helps you at the beginning. I think the religious stuff can come in down the line. My personal experience of Christianity has been, it's a religion for experts. And I know people won't like me saying that, but I think when you just have anybody taking it any way they want, it kind of makes a mess of it. And it's why there's 40,000 Protestant churches now. It's why it's basically been dominated by liberalism, because it's lost its core. You do need those wonderful masters at the core of it, translating the wisdom. That's the traditional model. It's a hierarchy of wisdom. Not everybody's going to have that level, but they feed down. But in lieu of that, what we have to do is try and understand in our own lives, again, where am I going wrong? Understand the sacred order, sort ourselves out on the horizontal path, and again, get that antenna nice and clean so it can receive the truth. So we're back aligned with it. And it's modernity, so it'll be fragmented. It will come and go. The ego wants to get in the way. I'm the spiritual one. I know everything. All that stuff is going to lead us back down to the garden path. The reality is we keep it simple, we allow the messages to come through, we stay humble and we stay on that path of understanding, and that creates who we are. That gives birth to the real man that you are. As I say, this is central stuff for next year in the Substack. Very important to reawaken Western esotericism in my view for the future, but just for your life now, and of course, more importantly, to connect with what you truly are. So do join the Substack in preparation for that. Coaching courses linked down below. Do subscribe to this channel. Enjoy the rest of your day, friends.